Hey, what's up guys, it's Shawzo here, and this is Nordhagen Beach. And I've turned it into a massive harbour for the Brotherhood of Steel. This settlement was a bit of a challenge as it's a blank canvas with some awkward landscapes, and it's forced me to think a lot harder coming up with some creative ideas, and I feel like I've done it justice. If you're new around here, this is part of a series where I rebuild the entire Commonwealth without any mods. I'm now going to show you how I built up this settlement, and then we're going to jump to a fully decorated tour. The settlers here are struggling, so I've made a deal with them for the Brotherhood to take over and provide shelter and protection. And we might as well, as it's right next to Boston Airport, and as you can see, we've already made a base here. So I've gone ahead and made the call, and they've sent over some Brotherhood of Steel soldiers ready to transform this settlement. And the first thing we're going to do is hug a concrete wall going around it, facing the sea towards Boston Airport. And we're going to start off on the highest point of the settlement, which is this corner here. And we're going to build along the green line going all the way around, so we know we can make use of every space of this settlement. So as we build along the green line, of course it's going to go into it at some stage, so occasionally I will angle one here and there using the pillar glitch. You just put it up to it and hold down A and it should select it. And as you can see, I'm curving it around, and we can start building in the right direction towards the bridge. I've made a lot of progress so far, and as you can see there's a massive gap underneath with some supports, and there is a reason for that, and I'll tell you in a second. I purposely kept the top layer all the same height to keep it nice and straight, and then just filled in the bottom. I've also gone ahead and opened up this section for an entrance because we could make use of that natural pathway. And with the walls finished up next to the bridge, it's time to do the exact same process again, going towards the sea. And look how tidy that looks. I've even curved it round slightly as it just touches the water. And of course I had to curve it round on the other side as well for added protection, as it's right in front of the bridge. Now there is one thing I hate about these concrete walls, is that they've all got the same texture and it makes them look very repetitive. And I want to challenge this. So what I'm going to do is simply just throw on some metal walls, and they do clip on very nicely. As you can see, we're out of bounds, so I'm having to do this really quickly before it shuts me out of the workshop. There will be an occasional one where it won't clip on, but this is an easy fix. You just simply take out the concrete wall and place another metal wall onto it. Of course you can just clip it on, but I'm using a pillar because we're going to be using it anyway to put the concrete wall back into place. And yes, you guessed it right, we can now pick up both at the same time. And it's just a case of placing it back into the gap. And there we have it. I'm really liking the look of this, and this is the best solution to give it the Brotherhood style, because the scrappy look of course wouldn't go well with it. And jumping on to the inside, I've made the effort of putting these columns in between each wall just to give it a bit more structural strength. With the walls all finished up now, it's time to look at the settlement as a whole, and as you can see it's quite messy with branches everywhere. So I've got Mr. Gutsy in, and we're going to tidy up the place.
That's how we do things in the Brotherhood! Hooah!
And that's much better. We've now got a clean slate to work with. I have kept a few things here and there, such as a few barrels that are right in front of the shack. And these would do great for decorations, because of course we can't place that ourselves. There's also a boat next to a truck that I want to do something cool with later on. And all the items that were scattered around here that you can pick up, I've just chucked it in the boat for now. So now it's time to do some magic on the inside. And I definitely want to take advantage of the natural pathing, extending our entrance. And with that finished up, I really like how it curves round in different directions, and it just gives it a unique look. And we now have 2 layers of walls hugging around the settlement. As you can see, I've kept the boat in that corner nice and snug, and this has now opened up some areas of which we can do some stuff with. I especially want to do something with these 2 gaps at the front here, and I want to do some defense towers. So I'm going to start off using the Vault Tech supports here, as it brings a bit of colour to the build. So as we make our way to the top, we can't actually place a floor piece directly on top, it just snaps away. But there is a solution for this. You just grab yourself a rubber floor mat and place it directly on top. This will now allow you to place a floor piece on top of that. And I've decided to go with the mesh floor pieces because they go so well with the white paint underneath, because of course it showcases it. Now that we can snap it on this side, I'm just going to get rid of this one with the mat so we can place it back in. Now I would like to do some concrete pillars with some rooftops to look all the way around, but we're unable to snap it onto the floor pieces. So I'm just putting some walls up for now so we can snap on the rooftop. I'm now going to get a couple of pillars to put either side, And as we delete the wall in the middle, I'm going to build further on the inside so it attaches to the rooftop and the floor piece down below. And yes, you guessed it, it's the exact same process on the other side, and once I'm done with that, I'll be building the pillars all the way down to the ground. But of course we do need a couple of walls for protection from the weather, and these metal ones will do on the back. And for the rest of it, I'm just going to put these wooden barriers, keeping the sides different to the front. And now I'm going to jump down because we want a staircase leading up to it. And I've got myself a pillar ready because obviously the staircase would not snap directly in the middle of the floor. And it's just a case of edging it on there, keeping it the same height and nice and straight. And the other staircase should simply just snap on. Now I want to do something more with this watchtower. We need some defense posts. So this is where the rug glitch comes in. And if we place it directly on top, we can pick up the whole thing. And this will allow me to keep it nice and tight up against the barriers, keeping it all nice and tidy. This would not be possible without using this rug. And I would say this was very important for me to do because what is a watchtower without people standing guard? And of course these guard barriers allow people to defend the settlement if it's under attack. And you guys know me, I've gone ahead and built a second one as it's very much needed because this settlement is surrounded by raiders, super mutants, robots, so it is a very dangerous spot. Now there is a couple of blind spots either side of the walls, and I want to do some sniper nests because as you can see, there are creatures out there that could make their way around the wall. So this is what I'm going to do about it. And for those of you who have watched my castle build, yes, I've gone for my elevator watchtowers again, because they just seemed perfect for this little space. I'll just give you a bit more information about spreading power. As you saw, I've just moved the wall for now so I can connect the elevator to the pylon, and I'm now going to sink it into the ground so we can spread the power later. And we can actually place the wall back in with the cable glitching through there. I did a bit of work behind the scenes and made another one on the other side, and we might as well have a look. There are some Mirelurk hunters up ahead in front of this tower, so let's test it out. And I think that should do the trick. I'm quite happy with this little watchtower. So let's jump back into the settlement because we still have quite a bit of space next to our guard towers, and I want to do a little structure next to it. And the idea is I'm going to turn it into a tiny little clinic. In case any soldiers get gunned down or wounded, anything serious, they can just go to our hospital build in Boston Airport. Now I want to make a rooftop using these concrete floors, and to snap it onto our little watchtower, I'm having to take these walls out to place them in. But they do snap back in and it's not a problem whatsoever. I'm going to carry on the rooftop now, and as you can see, to fill the space nicely, all we need is a nice simple square. And I'm going to finish it off with some walls. It's good to have some natural lighting on the inside, so I'm going with a mesh window. And for the entrance, I'm having to build on the right side to place a column on the left side, which isn't a problem because we can just delete what we've just used. And we'll just extend that down the bottom. And I'm going to be using these scaffolding ramps as I think they would be useful so we can wheel beds up and down for soldiers on the front line. I also want to have access to the rooftop. I'm having to start the floor piece on this side so we can clip it on the edge. Because we pillar glitch the wall in, it restricts that. But this is an easy fix. We'll just snap on the staircase all the way down, and we'll put a pillar on the side just for extra support. And with those bits and pieces in place now, we now have a clinic right next to the defence, which is very much needed, and I'm really happy with the outcome of this. Now there is a downside using too many concrete floors. As you can see, there's too many squares going on, and I want to do something about it. So I've gone ahead and put some rubber mats on the upper floors to make it all look nice and cohesive. So with the defences all finished up, we can now move on to different areas, and this one especially I want to work on. But we have a slight issue. I deleted the crops, but these settlers just want to keep going at it, and I don't know why.
All of this just works.
So I'm going to keep it as a garden area. I'm going to start off with some barriers, and I'll just go a bit more in depth with the pillar. When you place it next to an item, you want to hold down A so it selects it all, and if this doesn't work, it's because it's too far away and you need to twist the pillar to move it closer, and this will allow you to place it anywhere you want into the ground. I'm going to keep a gap in between my barriers and the concrete. I'm now going to put together a load of concrete pillars to make one big platform, and it's going to be for a statue, but it's not what you think, and I'll show you in a second. Additionally to this, I want to put a nice garden surrounding it, so I'm twisting around some plants, putting them all together, and we can pick the whole thing up with a pillar, and we'll just sink it into the ground so they look like real plants coming from underneath. And here is the outcome. I've used the Power Armor T60 as a statue, as it goes so well for the Brotherhood of Steel. I've also put some mut fruit going across the wall just to give it a bit more variation in colour. It's time to move further out into the settlement now, and I want to do something with this rubble that you can't scrap, with addition to some structures here and there around this area. And this is what I've come up with. I put loads of plants and barriers on that rubble. I've made a couple of bunkers, an armory, and I've extended the rooftop on the original shack. And yes, that is correct. I've made these little bunkers, and I got inspiration from a little pillbox bunker that I found in my own country. And they're scattered across all of England, and they were primarily used during World War II. So yeah, a nice little addition, and it's a good defence line in case the airport gets taken over. And I'll just quickly explain the structure. It's a simple rectangle with the walls on the outer side, but for the front I put this door frame on the inner side using the pillar glitch. And then I simply just put another wall in front of that. As I've got one ready here, you don't really need to use the pillar, it should just sit in there very nicely. We need to start thinking about the bed situation now for all of the soldiers, and this area here would be great for a little cabin. So I'm going to start with these shack floor pieces, and I'm going to connect it on this particular concrete wall, so we know it's nice and lined up in front of it. And then I'm going to lower it so it just touches the sand, and it's important to start on the highest point of the ground so it doesn't clip through to the floors. With the floors down now, I'm going to start putting some wooden walls up, as these would be perfect for that cabin look. But we do have a slight issue. I do want to use the barn rooftops, but they don't clip onto these ones. So we'll just replace that for now and put a barn wall in. And we'll just do what we can with the rooftop, pulling it above the walls that we've just placed down. And I'm using the same one throughout, so there's no holes or leaks anywhere. So far that doesn't look good, does it, as we've got a massive gap going all the way around. But there is a solution to this. We'll just grab ourselves a fire pit right in front of the first wall, and I've got myself a wall and a pillar ready to go. And the fire pit will allow us to use it as a sinking hole to get it up there a bit more. I'm going to repeat this all the way around. Moving on to the front, I'm going to be putting a door frame right in the middle. Of course we can't snap it on, but it does place in there nicely. Now I'm going to put a floor piece on the inside. This will allow me to put some floor pieces on the outside, acting as a little porch. And with the gaps either side, we're having to use the pillar with the half wall, so it does take a little bit of time, but some patchwork makes it all fun. And this is the end result. It looks really fitting with the rest of the build, and I've even put a flag on the porch. And how I've done this is, you put a flag on an existing building. This will allow you to pick it up from the building with a pillar. And we'll simply just bring it over to the porch. I've got a barn foundation to allow us to get it up there a bit more, and it's just a case of placing it on there nicely. Now I also made the effort to make this cabin look a lot like the ones in the show. As you can see, it's primarily wood with some tiles on top, and I've done the best I can with a no mods build, and I feel like it fits in quite nicely. I'm now going to move a bit closer to the shoreline now, because I want to turn this place into a harbour for the Brotherhood of Steel, potentially for some boats, cargo, and just general exploration. So what I'm going to do is start off with a foundation and match it with the height of the first pillar coming off the edge. And then I'm going to do the second foundation and place it at a slight angle, but not allowing too much of a gap in between. And I'm going to be doing this individually all the way around. And I'll just give you a quick tip. Don't put your pillar too high because it's going to clip the foundation upwards. You actually need to match the height so it can go up and down very smoothly. And we can now carry it on going all the way around. Looking at the progress so far, as you can see, it curves round very nicely, but we do have an issue. It's not going to quite make the other side. So a solution to this is I'm going to delete these walls temporarily just so we can move the whole structure. And I've got myself a conduit and a pillar ready to go, as you can see here. And we'll just hold down A on the pillar, and I'm just going to twist it round to the right so it could meet that other wall. This would of course take a few attempts, checking it in between every placement. This did take me a little while, but with a bit of time and patience, the result is so worth it. And look how smooth that looks going across the shoreline. I'm so happy with this. This was very time consuming to do, but as you can see, the results just speak for itself. I've been careful where I've placed it, not showing too much sand on the other side, and I wanted those waves to splash against the foundations. Also, we do have some water on the inside that I will be patching up a bit later. And you thought I was finished there? Well, it's not much of a harbour without extending the docks out onto the sea. And this is what I've done. I've kept everything nice and central, and there's plenty of room for 3 massive ships. I've also put some rubber mats over it just to make it look a bit different to the rest of the platform, and I think it suits it pretty nicely. I've also hidden that water with some wood because I wanted to mix up some more materials here and there. There's also a staircase bang in the middle ready to access the boats. And with that being said, I'm actually going to start off making some boats, and we're going to begin with this massive trailer, sinking it in the ground just for now so we can access the rooftop. And I've placed this floor piece in a way that it matches the height of the roof of the trailer, and I've also placed it in a way that the middle section of these floors are very much central going across it. And I'm just going to finish up by coning it off. And underneath, I'm actually going to grab myself a half pillar because these go into the trailer very nicely, giving the platform above plenty of support. And these are very important with how the boat is going to look as we build along. As we make our way to the back again, we're going to delete these floor pieces and we're going to bring the trailer back up so we can work around it. And we might as well have a look at our progress so far. I'm very pleased with how central it is looking on top. Of course, doing that first floor piece took a while, but eventually it's so worth it. And those pillars going across just make it look structurally sound. I'm now going to extend the backside with a staircase, and this should clip on very nicely. And this was possible because of that first floor piece. As you can see, it's the same height and it just touches it. I'm going to finish off the back with some metal walls, as that definitely suits the Brotherhood. On the top, I need a little bit of scrappiness in my life, so I'm going with these half walls, and I want a pillared rooftop, but we can't put them inside of the walls. So to tackle this, I'm going to put a rooftop with a full wall, then I'm going to delete the half one, build around, and these should now clip onto the rooftop going through the half walls. And this brings to life the porch idea I have for this ship. I'm just going to finish it off with some corners, and we definitely need some railings going across this platform, and I feel like these are best suited. And with all that work done so far, it's starting to look like a proper ship. I especially love how the porch has turned out because that's where the captain's going to be, navigating and driving. It's time to do some finishing touches now, as there's loads of gaps all around this ship, and for this to be realistic, we need to fill these in. And it's actually very easy to do, and we're going to be using some weapon racks. And I've already started with the first piece, and I've placed it in a way that the rest of them fill the gap perfectly. And it's actually the foundation for the rest of it, because we also want to fill in the gaps in between the pillars as well. And it all just comes together. That first piece is so important, and it's just the satisfying bit now, just clipping it all into place. And as you can see, the pillar does slightly bleed through, and that's exactly what we want. It gives it a lot of character. So I'm just going to finish it up just on the edge here, and we'll just finish up on the other side as well. And the reason why I've stopped at the edge is because I want to start working on the front. And what I'm going to do is delete these curved ones just for now, so we can put some square ones in and attach a pillar. This will fix the last weapon racks into place, and now we can put the curved floors back in. But this will still leave a gap underneath for water to get into. So what I'm going to do about this is grab a half wall with a pillar, and I'm going to try and match it with both the pillars either side. This will just help me keep it nice and straight, and all that's left to do is just lower it just so it goes underneath the front of the trailer. And it's important for it to be in that exact position because these weapon racks are now going to go on the top left corner, and we're going to start building upwards, and this should just touch the floor piece going above, so it keeps it all nice and tight, no water's getting in whatsoever. And then we'll just delete what we've used down below. I'm just going to finish the front off using that same flag trick that I showed you earlier, and it should just sit there very nicely on the front. And round the back I'm going to put a couple more flags just to let everyone know out on sea that this is the Brotherhood of Steel. And on the back we need some kind of jet system just to make it look like it's running. And I feel like these items are best suited for that narrative. I'm going to be doing a few of them because it is quite a large boat. It does leave an annoying gap behind, but there's an easy solution to this. We'll just get our weapon racks out again. We'll place one above them, and I'm going to start building down below, and this should fill the void right behind it. Let me know what you think about this jet idea, because I feel like it was the best use for these items. Anyways, that is the boat finished. It's time to pick up the whole thing using a pillar, and we can start putting it next to the docks. So we'll just bring it round, and we'll just find a perfect little position on this side, and I think that will do it. And here it is right next to the docks, and I'm so pleased with the outcome. I really wanted to challenge myself for this build, so I've come up with something I think is so cool. I've even put it in a position where it's about to set sail leaving the docks. I've even put an engine underground to give off that smoke effect where the jets are. And we might as well have a look on the inside, because yes, we do have access within inside the boat. So let's have a little look. There is a lot of potential down here for some furniture and some decorations, and you guys are going to see that in the transition a bit later. And to make use of the space even further out here, I've made 2 more boats. And these are very much docked up, ready to board. As you can see, there's ladders accessing it. And I'm really happy with how they all look together. Obviously, these are just the basic shell. These and the rest of the settlement will dramatically change with decorations. And after a few days of work, it's finally finished, fully decorated and fully furnished. And there is so many details. I always really enjoy doing builds for the Brotherhood of Steel because I just love their style and there's so much you can do with it. And with those boats that I've made, I've completely transformed them and they look 10 times better and very intimidating. But before we have a walk around the settlement, we need a lot more soldiers on the ground because we haven't got many and we are attracting a wrong kind of attention. Now that was an intense battle, wasn't it? We've now got the job of picking up all of the bodies, so I'll see you guys when it's finished. And here it is, all tidied up, ready to go. Let's have a little walk around. Hey, what's up guys, how's it going? And this is Nordhagen Beach, and we won't go too much into the defence because yeah, we've already been through that, haven't we? So yeah, let's go into the entrance. We've got the first desk here. This is where they just sign soldiers in and out as they come by. This is a dedicated shelter for the radiation cleanser because we don't want any of that inside, do we? So let's have a quick wash, get rid of all of that muck. And as we make our way in, as most of you probably know, this is the only building that is here. So I've turned this into a power armor workshop for all the soldiers here. So there's loads of weapons and armors surrounding it. I've also kept the concrete blocks as well because I feel like that adds to it. We've got a little lunch table. And inside is where the original settlers would stay, and you can't actually scrap their beds unfortunately. So with the rug glitch, I've put some floors over the 2 mattresses and also put a glitched in a sofa onto this bed frame, and it sits in there pretty nicely actually. I've also managed to squeeze in 2 power armors and workbenches, so yeah, it's quite a tight space, but it's such a cool little tinkering shed. Behind here is probably my favourite part of the build, and this is the power armor statue area. I didn't really have a choice but to turn it into a garden, because the NPCs here, even though you delete the crops, they still want to do that gardening animation, so this is the best thing I could come up with. On the table in the front, this is where all the soldiers put on the table what they found in a wasteland, so it's usually just tech or some old weapons here and there. In the middle behind me is a fire pit to keep them all nice and warm. And there's loads of rubble here and dead fish. I did my usual, just put some barriers around with a load of greenery. And next to it was a really nice flat area, and I felt like a boxing ring would be best suited for it, because as we've seen in the show so far, I think the Brotherhood like to see a fight now and again amongst their soldiers. And I would say this is probably the best boxing ring I've ever done. It's a ring but a square at the same time. And how I've done these arena platforms in this particular way is, if you put one on top of a rug and then on top of the platform that you've just built and then delete the rug, it actually sinks into the ground. And it all looks very much in place, nice and tidy, nothing that's bulky. And yeah, I'm really happy with the outcome of this little arena. To the left of it, next to me, is the armory. And I've used this massive reactor that I've never used before. And as you can see, there's a really cool zapping effect on it. And yeah, it looks really techy, and I felt like it would go well with the Brotherhood. And of course, it was just a completely flat area on top of this armory, so it needed something. So yeah, let's have a look. It's always locked, just a flick of a switch, it should open it. And I love these white floors, it just gives it a really cool clean look. To the left and right, I've filled it with so many weapons, any kind of variants that you need. In the middle, it's more of a mix and match, so we've got fusion cores, mini nukes, mini guns, and we've got lockers just labelled with everything basically. The table behind it, I have actually arranged this by hand, so each ammo box is in its own area. It does take a bit of time, but it is so worth it in the end. It gives it a nice professional look. And generally, I think this stuff is quite protected, as the door is always locked, so any explosions or anything, it should all stay put. Naturally, you would put a couple of workbenches either side. There was a long stretch of dead bushes here, so I've done my usual, just put some mutt fruit down, and I've actually surrounded it with concrete walls this time, because I'm trying to reduce that scrappy look as much as possible. And we can actually make our way around here. And I don't know if you guys have noticed already, there's loads of these lights everywhere. And I didn't want to just throw lights onto the concrete wall, I wanted some kind of housing around it, just to give it a bit of character. And I feel like this has done it a bit of justice actually. To the left is some baskets for all the mutt fruit. I've even made the effort of filling up this bathtub as well. We've got some water as well in front of it, as you naturally would with some gardening. I have to say, with a build like this, you're probably going to see loads of power armor workbenches, because I think that would be the case anyway, because they're constantly repairing their armor, they're constantly repairing weapons and making ammunition, ready for the next battle. To the left is quite a minor detail, but it's definitely a decoration or kind of furniture that you should keep, because it's unique in its own way, because you can't place it down yourselves, and it definitely adds to it, as small as it is. Behind me, I've made a little shelter just for some more weapons and components here and there. And behind me, of course, is the clinic. And I've upgraded the ramp actually. I wanted it to make it look a bit more solid, and I've also kind of raised everything up as well. I've just used two half corner walls with your standard scaffolding ramp. And this is where we wheel beds up and down in case we need to go to Boston Airport to the proper hospital. But generally speaking, this guy in here sorts out most things. As you can see, he's ready to go. I've managed to squeeze in everything that you kind of need in a room like this, so you don't really have to make trips in and out as often. So we've got food, we've got spare clothes, we've got all the gadgets necessary. We've got a coffee making machine as well. And yeah, just a box full of supplies, like food, chems and all that. And we might as well have a look on top. Underneath the stairs is just some general cargo. And what I've turned this platform into is a dedicated spot for the siren. So if any enemies come our way, we just flick the switch and just makes everyone aware that, yeah, it's all going to kick off. And we'll have a look at the defensive area as well. It's just very minimal decoration, just a couple of benches, a box for the supplies, ammunition and so on. So let's have a look at the rest of the settlement. And as you guys are probably already aware, I've extended the rooftop on the existing shack just to make a really cool kind of lo-fi porch area. And yeah, it's just a weapons workbench. Of course, we've got the settlement workbench as well. And you guys know I've kept the existing boat, and I wanted to do something cool with it, and I feel like this has done it justice. I've made some kind of hoist system using conduits and cables to give off that effect, and I've created some kind of module on top just to make it a bit more believable. Tell me what you guys think. I feel like it looks convincing. Yeah, it's just to give an idea that we're fixing up the boats and making use with what we could find in this area. Behind me, of course, is the bunker. There is something really cool in there, and you guys are going to see that in just a second. But I just want to show you my little narrative over here as well. I put another one of these trailers down just to make it look like we're working on another boat, and I've put all the materials that I've used for it around it as well. So we've got a bunch of railings, a bunch of half walls here and there. And as you can see, it's underneath some supports because otherwise it would be floated, obviously. And a little trick, if you guys didn't know, if you put a scavenger's workbench behind like a scrappy wall, for example, they actually do the welding animation on the wall, so it does look like it's like the repair in it kind of thing. And yeah, we might as well have a look inside. There isn't much, it's just some paint just to give the trailer a lick of paint, some toolboxes, a little radio to listen to whilst working. To the left is more of the same, but I've made it look like we've actually started to put some stuff onto the trailer at this point. As you can see, the staircase has already been constructed, and here's a prime example of that scavenger's workbench. As you can see, she's welding onto the metal wall. Behind me, I've actually attached it to this old truck, so I've made it look like everything was already here, and we're trying to resurrect the trailer from this truck. But yeah, this is just too far gone, so we've used it as a little shelter. It was probably good enough as it is, but I did actually want to extend it just to make sure the rain stays out, you know. And these baskets are scattered everywhere. I've just put loads of parts in there. Yeah, more of those railings. Just a bit of everything that you would use to build this boat. Underneath the stairs is a couple more workbenches. And this area is just a bit of a mix. So we've got a firing range, and it's a lunchroom area as well. Again, there's loads of dead bushes, so I've done my usual with the greenery. And yeah, it's a bit different. The firing range is higher than usual. And I couldn't really think of anything else to put in this corner, so I felt like a bit of a mix would do it justice. In the corners, just relevant to what's in the area, just lockers for guns, ammo and food. And on this defensive area, it's basically the same as the other side, just different arrangements. I actually prefer this side, to be fair. I think there's a bit more to it. And these poles with the power, I have actually connected my own conduits to it just to make it look like we're bringing power from those as well. Probably quite minimal power, but might as well. This corner, I've just blocked it off with those cages. They're really good for that kind of thing. Just a couple of boxes along with it as well. And with the cabin out the front, the landscape is pretty awkward here, so I always use these drawers for a little platform. You just put them together to hide the drawers. And yeah, just leveled it out, a couple of benches, and there we go. So let's have a look on the side. As to be expected, very regimented, very tidy. Each box is labelled with a number, with some ammo, and everyone's got a combat knife. As well as that, they've always got a weapon above their bed as well. And yeah, just spare armour. Just a couple of drinks here and there. And I've used some clean drawers and some bins just for some spare clothes and so on. Round to the right, I've made a little entertainment area. It's not really a basketball court, more of a one-shot kind of practice area. We're making use of what we can with the space. But yeah, this is one of the watchtowers. We might as well have a look up inside. Very similar to the castle. There's only so much you can fit up here. Every single one of them would have a cooking station. There's a bed either side. And yeah, just a couple of storage bits and pieces. So let's make our way down. To my right was a really tight space, and I wanted to do something pretty cool. So I've made some toilets and some showers. And yeah, let's have a look. Underneath is the toilet. It's just the one, nice and clean. We've got a clean sink as well. a box, couple of magazines, and above is a couple of showers, along with some lockers for some towels, clothing. And these conduits really give that effect for showers, because it generally just looks like pipework, doesn't it? And the conduit looks like a shower head. So yeah, nice little spot for all the soldiers to get clean and do their business. So it's time to look at the front of the settlement now. This corner I felt was a good spot for some water purification machines. In the middle, a fire pit with a little meat rack. And yeah, I'm really excited to show you guys this. In this bunker, I've made this massive cannon. And what I've done is put 2 holotape machines together, along with a weapons display on top of it, along with some other bits and bobs. And I actually put a cannon on the display. And it looks very convincing. I'm really happy with this. It goes so well in this little bunker. And I've actually named it the Victorium 3000 because, yeah, it's the Brotherhood in it. For those who are new to the game, you can't actually use this, obviously, but it's part of the roleplay. And I always love doing stuff like this. And you can actually go inside. It's actually a little bit bushy. I initially wanted to hide the bushes, but I wanted to make use of these bunkers in a way, you know, so I felt like this was best suited. Probably not the best, but I've done what I could, you know. Out the front is another lunch table area. I felt like this was a good spot because it looks out onto the sea. This area, another fire pit. I always like to leave open spaces in the settlement because you don't want it to look like too tight, too claustrophobic, so it's always good to leave nice and open spaces in there. This bunker's purely just for looking out and just for a last resort, really. So if Boston Airport gets taken over and this place gets bombed, yeah, this is the last resort to get into. We've got loads of supplies, we've got spare clothes, guns, food, a little table, and a little cubby hole just to look out onto the airport. And looking at this corner, it's another watchtower. We won't bother looking into this one. It's the same setup, but just a little bit different. This area, I've made a little prison. We don't have any prisoners yet because, as we saw earlier, they all pretty much died. Yeah, so it's all open, ready to go. I've made it look like there has been a prisoner in here, to be fair. There's loads of tiles counting down the days. Yeah, just all you need for a little box room, really. It's really annoying that I was unable to scrap this big cargo box, so it is what it is, I suppose. So over here, you guys would know there was still some water. We've covered it up, so no one needs to say anything about that. And we've actually got some artillery here, because in my playthrough, we are kind of friendly with the Brotherhood and the Minutemen. And yeah, they've lent us some schematics. We probably should have used that for the battle, but I don't know. I do like a challenge, I suppose. And yeah, I put loads of cannons around it. I've also made the effort to fill this bathtub as well. And yeah, just bits and pieces around it. Made a gym area for the soldiers. As you can see, they're enjoying it very much. Now it's time to show you the area that you guys have probably been looking forward to the most. So yeah, with the docking station, we've got loads of floodlights and metal sheets just to give it a professional look. Of course, we've got a staircase right in the middle. I'm really happy with how these boats have turned out. We can't actually access this one, unfortunately, because it's already set sailing. But if you guys want to check this particular one out yourselves, you can actually download my build as a mod. And it'll be in the description, it'll be on Bethesda.net and Nexus Mods. And it's a very simple download. All you need is 2 mods to actually make this possible, along with all the DLCs. So yeah, it's a very simple mod to download. There's not a long list of things that you need to get. All the information will be in the description of the mod, so check it out. And I'm so pleased with the outcome with what I've added to these boats. And I just want to quickly mention one thing. I've actually added a fusion core generator on the back using the rug glitch. And you have to directly put it on top. And as you guys know, you can get into spaces that you can't usually get into. And it's just made it 10 times more believable. It looks like there's a proper engine on the back. And there's plenty more details. So yeah, let's have a look at one of the other boats. We've got the basic cargo on the docks. Down that way is just more of that with a guy chilling. So yeah, let's have a proper tour. On top, as you can see, I've put loads of these bins because they do match the colour of the Brotherhood. And I wanted some kind of defensive barrier around here, and we're quite restricted with actual building items. So I've had to resort with decorational stuff. And I felt like I've done the best of my ability here. I've turned a few of them here and there just to give them a less of a repetitive look. Out the front, every boat has a turret on top of these platforms, a little lunch table as well. Plenty of supplies on top just to defend the boat. And having a look from the outside, I'm just so pleased with the outcome. It's got all the colours matching the Brotherhood, it looks intimidating, and it just looks like what they would build in the wasteland, I think. Moving more towards the back, I've made this really cool steering system out of conduits, a switch and a little pole. And it looks really believable. It definitely does the job, it looks like. And we've got a little captain's hat as well, ready to go. So let's make our way down here. And it's actually surprisingly very furnished to what I was expecting. So we've got a nice big sofa with a TV, a couple of beds. Every boat has a food station with a lunch table. At the back is the fusion core generator along with the sink. And behind this metal sheet I've actually managed to squeeze in a toilet. So let's have a look at the other one. Pretty much the same setup on the outside, but on the inside it's very much different. Out the front we've got a container for some supplies ready to go on board. I always put these workbenches on the front just to make it look like the captain's just making some additional repairs. To the left down here, I don't think I've mentioned this, I've put these orange lights going across the platform as it just goes so well with the docking. And with this boat it's more of a mixture. They do a bit of fishing, there's some different tables. Again we've got another turret, same steering system. And this is probably one of my favourites for the interior. There's a lot more down here. So we've got a weapons workbench, a little table in front of the chairs, another cooking station. All the beds are in the same position in each boat because I feel like these are the best kind of places for it. And I've actually managed to fit a power armor and a workbench in here as well. Very surprised I could do that, so I'm very pleased with it. At the back it's pretty much identical with all of them. Fusion core generator, along with a toilet. So that is the settlement tour finished. And yeah, I'm now going to give you some night shots. And here it is at night time. This one's a little bit different because the interior walls are pretty much lit up, whereas the front is very dark with the exception of a couple of spotlights. And I think that's all you need really for security. I have lit up the flags just to let everyone know that we're in business here. And looking on the inside, I just want to show how these red lights look on the docking, and it just looks so fitting with the whole build. And I feel like you would find these lights in a harbour or a port, whatever you want to call it. Moving along to the centre of the settlement, I made the effort to glow up the plant area, but I made sure the bunkers were very dark because we don't want them lit up, do we? Having a look at this section, the firing range is very much lit up, and with the workshop area, I've just put a couple of spotlights here and there. I've put a very bright light in the clinic, but outside of it, it's quite dark as it's for security. The statue is probably one of my favourites with the night shots. I mean, look how cool that looks. The boats also look really good. I put lights right next to the flag to light it up, but kept it dark on the sides. That's the end of the video now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.